How's everybody doing? Welcome to AstroLunaChick's Guide to the Universe. And I am Susan, aka AstroLunaChick. And I'm laughing because the ice cream truck, just when I thought it was leaving, seems like it might have turned back around. Maybe there was some kid they forgot. Anyway, I gotta get this thing recorded. I've waited too long. And yeah, welcome to AstroLunaChick's Guide to the Universe. And this is the weekly astrology report. I'm recording this on October 1st. It's Saturday. And I will kind of start with today, but maybe you're listening to it tomorrow because that's when it will be posted. And where will it be posted, you ask? I'm glad you asked. My show is running on Spotify. I'm also on YouTube. If you like to see the graphics rather than just hearing the audio, you could check out the YouTube channel. And that's where I record the podcast and I share my screen so you could see what is going on with the chart for those of you who want to see the visual and see where the placement of the planets are that I'm talking about. But if you just want to follow along and listen, you can do that on Spotify, and you can also hear me on etalk.tv, which is streaming internet radio. And it's a pretty cool new station run by my friend Jeff Brunel. And there are some really good shows on there, so check it out. It's some of the shows are live. Right now mine is not live, but I will be doing a live show, and we're definitely doing a radiothon on October 22nd. So make sure to check that out. I will do the live show at that time. I think I'm going to be on Sunday. So wait a minute. Maybe that's the 22nd and the 23rd. And yeah, I think we decided to do it all weekend. So at that point, I can take live calls and I can do live readings. Yeah, yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. But you guys should go over and check it out. Check out the cool shows that are on there. My friends Dave and Russ from Beyond the Strange. And you might, some of you might have heard my live shows with them. There was, at one point, I was taking live calls and doing readings online, and that was a lot of fun. So they're Beyond the Strange, and they're on etalk.tv. And let's see, there's JP from Reperceptions podcast. Hi, JP. And Gigi and his shift happens. And I think JP, you sit on that sometimes, don't you? And yeah, a bunch of other people, just Rogies on our Rogie Report. Some of the other shows I don't really know, but I'm getting to know them and just popping in and listening, and it's really cool. So there's that. And I am still running my retrograde special, even though Mercury goes direct. I don't know if you had a lot of weird stuff happening and you want to look back at what was going on with the retrograde, we can look at that. That is a $50 mini reading, and it's just where we focus on only the retrograde for Mercury. I do the same thing for the eclipses. So when the eclipses are coming up, I'll start talking that up. But I mean, if you want to know now and you want to book that now, that's cool too. And so in order to book a reading, you can email me at astrolunachick@gmail.com. And I've had some weird, funky things happening with Facebook Messenger. It says that I have messages for AstroLunaChick Facebook page, but I don't. When I open it up, there's someone named Louisa_Hoffman. If you are a real person and not spam, I'm not ignoring you. I just don't see the message there. I get a it's the weirdest thing. It's been happening all week, but Mercury retrograde. I just figured it'll work itself out because it always does. But then I got a notification that I had a message from an actual friend of mine, someone who knows me, and I didn't even think they were on Facebook. And I said, "Yo, did you message me?" And they're like, "No, I'm not even on Facebook. I closed my Facebook account." So some kind of weirdness, Mercury retrograde fuckery. So yeah. If you are looking to book a reading, the best way to do it is by email, getting a hold of me. You can message me on social media. I usually get it. If I don't, you should email me. I mean, I haven't had any problems with Instagram. I get my messages on Twitter. Facebook is being a weirdo, but then they changed a bunch of things, which is never a good idea during a Mercury retrograde. Oh my God, I remember a Mercury retrograde like 2 years ago. I want to say that it was in February of 2020, where like all of these messages came through. Or maybe it wasn't in February, it was later on in the year, but I got a message from a family friend saying, wishing me a happy Valentine's Day. And I was like, it's June or something like that. And come to find out that there was like all these messages stuck in the cloud, and a bunch of people got messages from people who had passed on, which is crazy. But that was a Mercury retrograde thing. So I hope your Mercury retrograde is not too snaggy. It's almost over. Mercury is going direct tomorrow. So that's good news. And the day that Mercury stations to go direct is one of the days that we want to watch and keep on our radar, especially now because Mercury is right opposite Neptune. Well, not exactly. It's like 25 Virgo and Neptune is at 24 of Pisces. So it's close enough. So that's where some of this, any miscommunications or foggy thinking or information and details being obscured, facts being hidden or obscured, or just outright lies, or seeing things that we didn't see before, because Mercury is really strong when it starts to station and go direct. I am going to share my screen now. Get ready. Okay, because I want to look at the chart. There it is. So this is when I'm recording it. The moon is in Sagittarius and it's squaring Mercury and Neptune. And yeah, there's been a lot of confusing stuff going on. A lot of confusing stuff, a lot of political things. Sure, everybody knows what's going on out there in the world. But let's look at October 2nd, when Mercury goes direct. We could have this big burst of information, things being revealed, exposed, revelations. Being that the Mercury retrograde has been in the last few degrees of Virgo, there's been a lot of analysis of information, data, a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of necessarily, negotiations. I know I mentioned whistleblower type stuff. Like I'm hearing that all over the place. And it may not be the term exactly that's being used, but there's a lot of information coming to light, people coming forward to speak, um, things that have been going on, maybe even going on for a long time, but we're just hearing about them now. And there's a lot to do with the balance of fairness and justice, diplomacy or lack of diplomacy. You know, Libra is known for being the sign of balance and justice. That doesn't mean that, you know, that's automatic. That's what we're striving for. But that's also what becomes highlighted when things are out of balance. That's what Libra does. It brings into focus where things are out of balance and where we need to set them straight. And that's where the justice part comes in. So, Moon in Capricorn, Sunday, October 2nd. So the day reduces down to a 9. So everything that's been building up all week since the new moons, we're in a waxing moon phase, coming to the Capricorn moon where it's a little bit more serious, a little more sober, like, all right, this is getting serious. We need to take action or speak on something or make a decision. Maybe we've made the decision and now it's standing by our word and letting our actions line up with the decision that we've made, and our communications, being clear about it. Now that Mercury's going direct, it could be something that was, maybe somebody was mulling something over and the decision's been made. They've gotten all the information that they need. And then it's just a matter of moving forward and putting it into action, the plan. So what we're starting to see also is with Venus in Libra, when it opposed Jupiter, that's when I think we really started seeing some prices go up. Pretty sure that that's when I saw the notification, people sharing on Twitter about a big jump in gas prices. I mean, that's just the start. We're seeing things increase, definitely, big time. And so Sunday, there's something ending. A new cycle is going to begin with Monday on the 3rd. But what we're dealing with here is, looking at things from a mature perspective, serious, getting down to business. Capricorn, Capricorn does like to flit around and have fun, but it's more like, what are you getting accomplished? Do you feel like you can go out and play? And it is on Sunday on the 2nd. It is the first quarter square. So we had the new moon already. And we're up to the first quarter square, which is more of an internal crisis. It's not a crisis in the sense of, oh my God, everything is the shit's hitting the fan. It's not like that. It's like, okay, I gotta do this now. I gotta make this real. I gotta be really careful about what I'm saying. Be careful about my next moves. Be strategic. Libra and Capricorn together, very strategic, very, it's relationship oriented, but it is strategic and relationships that are going to get us to where we're going, to the next level. It's allies when it comes to politics, and I expect there are a lot of things brewing. There's a lot of things going on. You know, we have Mars and Gemini, and that is it's very, very busy. There's multiple things going on. Gemini is multiple things, taking action in multiple directions. And so it can kind of be a little bit of a scattered energy and indecisive, but it's going to get a little bit more clear, a little more decisive, a little more assertive. And that Mars energy is definitely increasing, it's becoming stronger. Venus and Mars, the two relational planets, Venus is very close to the sun, which makes her invisible. So when planets are within the rays of the sun, they're not operating as strongly as they are. So Venus is not as strong, even though she's in Libra, which is one of her home signs. It's really hard for her to function um, at her optimal strength. Mars is stronger, and Mars is gaining strength because, as I talked about in my last podcast, Mars is doing something that we call out of bounds, going out of bounds. So the planets have there is an imaginary line, as I explained before, and that's the ecliptic. So the planets move in declination north and south of the ecliptic. So Mars is going out of bounds. What is the bounds? The normal range that the planets function within. And when they go out of bounds, they tend to correlate with very crazy things going on. And we've seen a lot of aggression already. The verbal sparring and anger and being assertive in your speech. That's Gemini. And Mars and Gemini can really be lively debate. So it's not all fighting. It can be, it could be a lot of interesting conversations and information coming out. But overall, there does seem to be, on one level, at least on an internal level, even if we don't know or we haven't acted on it, there's a kind of a sense of the direction that we're going in and the direction that we see things going in. So hopefully there's some maturity happening when it comes to decision making on the 2nd. And so the moon squaring Venus in Libra and the sun also in Libra. It's kind of solidifying partnerships, really, because with the moon waxing in strength, this is growing. It's making commitments. It's our loyalties. I'm talking about the moon in Capricorn, it's integrity, it's loyalty, it's being steady and committed to things. So committed to a decision, course of action, relationship, mediation, hopefully diplomacy. At least we can hope for that. Okay, so that's Sunday. Then Monday is October 3rd. So that's the one. Remember, I'm adding the month, the day, and the year all together to make that the numerological the day number. And we still have the moon in Capricorn, again, very serious. And the moon is going to be making a trine to Mercury. So definitely task oriented. It's great for analyzing data and communications and being solid, concrete, practical in how we feel and how we communicate, where our mind is at, because that's Mercury. Our mind is on the details. Our mind is on Virgo things. Our mind is on the practical daily details. It's on analyzing, putting plans into action, how we're going to go forward, the details that we need to communicate. Maybe, if there's paperwork involved, maybe that starts moving forward because someone is able to. All right, what just happened? Off my screen there for a second, but I'm still recording. Huh, weird. All right, so definitely good for getting things done. Because there is the upcoming conjunction with the moon to Pluto, and that really requires us to exert a lot of our effort, willpower, and anxiety stuff could be coming up. Maybe, because maybe we're waiting on something, we have a deadline, and we're waiting on something that was being delayed, but now things are moving forward. Things are starting to move forward with Mercury. Again, be really careful because the day that Mercury goes direct and the day before and the day after, so this is the day after Mercury goes direct, we can be a little bit obsessive with Pluto. We can have this sort of vague sense of fear. Am I forgetting something? And the moon is also making an aspect to Neptune. So there really is a sense of, okay, I have to make sure that I'm seeing everything that I need to see, that I'm not glossing over things or being too optimistic or just things falling through the cracks. But it's not a bad aspect to have, especially if you're an earth sign. These are super productive for earth signs, like especially for Capricorn, Virgo too. Really hashing out details and looking at our resources. We could really be looking at our resources too, because things are changing. And kind of going back a little bit earlier, there would be a trine. So it's almost like a slow grand trine over the day in Earth of just kind of maybe settling in to practical stuff with the moon that would have made a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So there could be, we're just making adjustments for changes coming up and being practical and looking at our resources and how we're using our resources. Because with prices going up, obviously, we're going to look for ways to better manage our resources. And I think I might have missed actually the day before on Sunday, there is a square from the moon to Chiron, from Capricorn to Aries. So, that could be a little bit of resentment and wounding when it comes to our own ego, our identity, our individuality and sovereignty. And then whatever authority figures we may be looking at, dealing with, hearing about, and a lot of changes happening within the structure of our government and authority in all sorts of institutions. So that's pretty much wrapping up Monday. And then we're on to Tuesday. That's the 4th. So now we're at a 2. And we've got the moon in Aquarius, which is going to be making a trine to Venus and to the sun. And also a sextile to Jupiter. So we may feel like we're getting some better sense of fairness and balance, maybe getting a little bit more detachment. There could be some kind of focus on technology or our friends or crowds. The heck is this? I have to take this phone call. I can't believe this. Hold on a second. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to edit that out. So crazy. Uh, I don't know. Now I don't know. I have to make a phone call, I think. This is nuts. Hello, Mercury retrograde. I have to text somebody in the middle of my show. And I'm gonna have to edit this out and whatever. It is what it is. But they called me twice, so I had to answer. It was the bank, but it was like an automated call. So yeah, somebody might need to text me. Anyway, I'm sharing my screen and it's Tuesday. I'm up to Tuesday. Moon in Aquarius. Oh God, I have to stop this. Hold on a second. This is ridiculous. And I was so like ready to come in, like streamlined. I'm gonna stay like on topic. I'm gonna be, I'm just gonna go right through it. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Hi, ay, ay. That's weird. I'm gonna have to call my bank. Oh, okay. It'll take care of itself somehow. All right. So Moon in Aquarius is a little bit lighter, maybe emotionally not as heavy as Capricorn, and the moon conjunct Pluto for sure. And so this does look a little bit better for relationships and working things out and diplomacy. Communication is still not what we would want it to be, but that is because Mercury is opposed to opposite Neptune. So the things that we're hearing may not be accurate. I'm not saying they're outright lies, but they might not be accurate. But there could be something around technology, internet, hacking. I don't know. The day after looks a little crunchy, but let's see what comes up on the 4th, because it'll let us know what might be coming up. You know, I'm just thinking about the current conflict and if it would include any kind of cyber warfare, maybe, or hacking of resources. Wonder what this might have to do with social media. I mean, there might be some kind of buzz going on there, but overall, things don't look too bad. I think we are trying to find some kind of balance, and it just comes day by day, you know, and it comes through being with the people that we love and trust and have good relationships with, that we have common ground, shared values. I think we're really seeking that right now with Venus in Libra. It's very, very important that we're really looking for people that have similar values as we do, and really seeking peace and harmony and balance. And it's hard to do that if you're around people who are out of balance, and it will become pretty obvious when we have aspects like we do, where people, and I'm not saying like avoid everyone in your life because they're having issues. um you know, your family members and your friends, those are the people that you love and you care about, and obviously we're there to help other people and support one another. We want that, everyone wants that, and the reciprocity of Libra is bringing us closer to that, hopefully. But I have the moon in Aquarius, so Capricorn, I feel like really the sense of burden, like the heaviness of, yeah, I gotta get some stuff done. Like, oh, okay, this is me, like over the weekend, checking off my list, making sure that I'm ready to go come Sunday, Monday, when Mercury's direct and I can start moving forward again. But it's still going to be a little difficult because Mars is making a hard aspect to Mercury and Neptune all week. So all week, like an overarching theme is going to be, the actions that are taken and the words that are being said, and how do we react? How do we respond? How do we feel about it? There's going to be so much information coming out. So, like, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, let's get over to Wednesday, because we do have the moon conjunct to Saturn in Aquarius at 18-19 degrees. It's retrograde, which means it is super strong, and it will be going direct soon towards the end of, or the third week in October, but because it moves so slow, it's starting to slow down already. And it's making a square to Uranus. So there is this like push and pull and radical changes, and Saturn having to do with governmental structures and authority, restrictions, obstacles, delays. I think we could see something coming up that has to do with our resources, supply chain stuff, prices going up, scarcity, restriction in the sense of maybe a limited supply, or maybe new regulations regarding certain things. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, this is where I was talking about possible, like, in the back and forth of the conflict that is going on. This could be something cyber, technology, digital. There could be something coming up around the crypto, CBDC, currency issues, maybe. And it can maybe have to do with the markets. I mean, the crypto type stuff. It just could be some kind of news, some kind of new regulations announced, some kind of new laws, because Saturn in Aquarius is restructuring everything having to do with technology, everything digital. Something was just passed, a bill was just passed this past week in California about a registry, a central registry. So this is consolidating information through technology, creating a new system, so that when Pluto comes into Aquarius, since Jupiter and Saturn met in Aquarius earlier, there has been a new foundation, a new structure being put in place regarding the collective in general, communications, tracking information and data, technology, everything digital, crypto, blah, blah, blah. Cybersecurity. That's what I was thinking too. Like there could be something happening, something brewing, something talked about, something floated out there about some kind of hack or cyber warfare, whatever. Because the moon and Saturn trining over to Mars, and Mars is attack, warfare, aggression. But it would be more of because Aquarius is an air sign, Gemini is an air sign. We have Venus and the Sun in Libra, that's an air sign. And so there's a lot of words, provocation, talk about action, hearing about things, but not really being clear on what's going on. All right, so we get into, that was the 5th, we get into the 6th, the moon is in Pisces, and doesn't really make much aspect on the 6th. It enters Pisces, but late overnight, it'll sextile the North Node and trine the South Node, which is helping to move things forward, but it almost seems like, do we get a break here? Or feeling kind of burnt out by what's been going on? Now, there is an opposition to the asteroid Ceres, which is about food, the goddess of grain, and the mother of, well, Ceres and Demeter are the Greek and Roman names for that particular goddess of harvest. And she's in Virgo. And I mean, this could be a feeling of kind of like, what's going on? What's going on with health and resources, perhaps? Um, but we might just be feeling a little bit more sensitive, compassionate. Pisces moon is a little bit escapist. We may be really sensing that things are going on, but we're not like outwardly aware of them, and that could be making us a little bit like fearful under the surface. Not fearful, but like, I don't know, just maybe wanting to run and find our happy place, eat a pint of ice cream. Okay, so that's the 6th. So what are we on? Um, third. Is that Thursday already? Hang on, I gotta look at a calendar. Are you kidding me? I'm losing track. Hold up. Mercury is still eating my brain. All right, that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, Thursday. I was right. Thursday. Doesn't feel very active. It's suspiciously calm, as I like to say. Suspiciously calm. I just want to check the declination because I want to see where the moon is in declination. It's close to the south node, but it's going north. So for me, this just feels like on the 5th, we have a lot going on. Perhaps we have a little bit of nervous energy burnout that we're just kind of gliding off of, and a need to release because the moon does also on the 5th, like the day before, it's squaring the nodes. So there's sort of a turning point here, like, okay, things are shifting, things are changing, and sometimes we're hit with so much energy. Like I look at Aquarius and Uranus, and I think of electricity, I think of being like zapped. So it could be some nervous exhaustion that we're recuperating from, or just kind of coasting, which is not too bad. And then on Friday, the 7th, we've got the moon in Pisces still, and it's going to make a sextile to Uranus. So there is sort of a push or an inspiration that we tend to get with Uranus. We could feel very spiritually inspired. We could have some kind of breakthrough or epiphany, or just feeling like um, just ready to like give ourselves some downtime, self-love, or it really could feel like maybe we just want to like check out for the whole weekend and go partying. That's Pisces escapism. But there is something happening on this day, the 7th, where we're going to have the moon conjunct to Neptune. So, in a sense, it's like we're swimming in this ocean of emotion. Wait, isn't that a song? Rock the boat. So, we're still in opposition here with Mercury. So, it's like we're really trying to sift out um, what the details are. And we're also kind of looking back to the full moon because we had the full moon last month in Pisces, and that was a very energetically very strong. Like, even if we didn't know why we were feeling so much, maybe at this point we are coming full circle and realizing what it was all about, and hopefully looking at it from a soul perspective, the big picture soul God perspective, so maybe we are learning to manage our practical everyday life here with Mercury in Virgo, um, the details, and being helpful. That's Virgo, helping one another and balancing our practical, physical, everyday life, um, and looking at, our needs, our relationships, our communications, our everything that goes into having a life, as opposed to what's going on that we're sensing on the inner realm, because we're also really affected by what is going on with the collective as a whole. On some level, I think maybe we're becoming more aware, and maybe some of us are learning to sense these energy shifts. Now, I look at the planets and I see, oh, okay, we're having an energy shift, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like it could involve. I throw out some possibilities of how it could play out, but I'm not trying to make predictions, but there are correlations between certain aspects of planets just because we've been watching, as humans, we've been watching the stars and developed a system of reading the planets and the stars and the movements of the planets and how they affect us. It's the correlation. It's not that the planets cause these things. It's, well, after thousands of years of observation, we tend to know that Mercury in Virgo is very critical, detail oriented, can be very judgmental, and in opposition to Neptune can project on other people. So that would be maybe something that's coming up where there's a lot of judgment and blame shifting and finger pointing, and we could see also the hypocrisy, or where we might be doing this ourselves, projecting our issues onto other people, and as if they're the problem. So let's try to have a little bit of compassion, especially with Mercury and Virgo. That could be a real cutting way of speaking. And opposite Neptune, sensitive people getting hurt. But, maybe it's a very helpful thing, and people feeling very compassionate and coming together to help other people. Especially we could be having more storms around this time. We just had this past week the hurricane in Florida. So this could be coming together and helping people that were displaced the cleanup, or this could be with Mars squaring to Neptune. There could be maybe another storm coming up, but really watch around this time on the 7th, Friday, because the use of substances, um, I think people will be very sensitive to the substances where they might affect them more profoundly than at other times. And so, our cognitive ability and our actions and our thought processes, there's a lot of clouding here. So I would watch on this day. Um, we also might start to see things that were, while Mercury was in retrograde, because it's starting to move forward now. It's only gone about a degree or so, but we're starting to see things not unravel as in the sense of like going to hell, but the things that were maybe not clear, or that were going on behind the scenes that we weren't hearing, that could be coming up. Or if there was something obscured around the time of the last full moon, which was in Pisces, we might be getting some information on that, because it does take a while for Mercury to get back up to speed after the Mercury retrograde. So on the 8th, and this would be Saturday, and I feel like I want to check because I'm just like losing track here. I just want to make sure I'm on the right day. Yeah, the 8th is Saturday. So what are we at? 9, that's a 6. So on the Sunday, we start out with a 1. Monday is 2. Tuesday is 3. Thursday is 4. Friday is 5. Saturday is 6. I like really, really suck at math. Like, I love numbers. Now I love them. In school, if I had to read like in history and there was a date and there was like a number there, I literally consciously would just skip over it, because I'm like, I'm never going to remember that. So I'm not even going to look at it. Now I pay more attention. And I do like, um, I do like to keep track of numbers, and with astrology, I have to look at numbers because I'm looking at degrees, and I'm getting distracted again because I just got a text about the thing that I got the phone call before from the bank. All right, I got 10 minutes left here. I just got to finish this up. Oy, oy, oy. So we're at Saturday. The moon is in Aries, so that's quite lively because it's going to conjunct Jupiter. That's going to expand whatever's going on. It will give optimism, but it could be, overly optimistic, or overextending, or, feeling a sense of justice in what our actions are. We're acting because we feel like we have the right to, and there can be legal issues coming up, foreign policy, that's Jupiter. There could be stuff coming up about the airlines, possibly. Jupiter is working its way back towards Pisces because it is retrograde, and I'm wondering what's going to happen. Well, I really do think that air travel is going to be affected more so than what it already is. And that would make sense with fuel prices going up. But anyway, um, whatever's happening on Saturday, whatever intuition hits, we get whatever comes our way is going to be a precursor. It's going to give us a clue to what's going to happen next week when Mercury opposes Jupiter, because there's new laws coming. There's just has to do with new directions when it comes to justice and lawsuits, legal, travel, foreign policy. Maybe we might start to see a little bit more diplomacy. I'm hoping, but the tone will change when Mercury goes into Libra, but there might be something that happens over the next weekend that comes up in meetings that we're not privy to, obviously, that gets spoken about or announced next week, the week after, like the week of the 10th, because we're going to have the full moon coming just in a couple of days after. So that's Saturday. And there aren't many aspects. There's just the moon is opposing Jupiter early on, and then later we get, or is it the next day? No. Well, yeah, like early overnight into the early part of the day on the 9th, and that's Sunday. And that's the full moon, which is conjunct Chiron and opposing Venus, which can be, that can be difficult. The full moons are intense. It's always an intense time. And in Aries, it could be very aggressive, assertive, fiery. There's perhaps, some fighting, arguing in some respect. And it can have to do with whatever's going on. It can have to do with finances because that's Venus. This could be a conflict. If there was a conflict brewing within the relationship or a partnership, this is definitely where it could peak. Or it could be, like there could be a lot of healing going on, and there could be a lot of like feminine energy that's bringing healing. I don't want to say this is all negative because it's definitely not. It is making a sextile to Saturn, so that does bring in some detachment and maturity. It can also mean authority stepping in, but it can have a lot to do with legal issues and financial too, because it's Venus. And this, could be the culmination of the conflict that's been building all week, whatever that might be. And I just looked at the clock and it's 5:55. So it means big changes, it means a big like shake up and shift. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because whatever happens, like let's say this is a provoking, it does look provocative, and in a personal insult could be, or just really looking at the balance of give and take in relationships. Venus in Libra, and then Chiron in Aries. That's our selfhood and our ego and our identity, and Maybe we want more reciprocity in our relationships. But after that, after the new moon, the full moon, um, which is bringing something to light and highlighting where there is a blockage or restriction, possibly because of Saturn. But it seems like, not that it's an easy fix, but it's maybe an obvious conclusion. We can, if we need to make changes here, whatever it is, action is going to come quickly, because the moon in Aries is going to make a sextile to Mars. So there will be communication, there will be action. It's like the whole week really seems like action and reaction, you know, like a volleying, or a tennis match, back and forth, and it's just who's got the ball. And you know, are we serving, are we hitting the ball back, is it going out of bounds? The moon is out of bounds actually right now this weekend, so I don't think it goes out of bounds for the rest during the week. Let me just check. Let me do that. I've been looking at that a lot lately with the out of bounds stuff. And we're gonna have to watch Mars, like watch the speed, watch the driving, watch sharp objects. Yeah, see, the moon is way out of bounds. Today for me is October 1st, October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and it comes down to meet with Pluto by declination, oppose Mars by declination. They don't call it oppose, they call it parallel and contraparallel. But it feels like a conjunction or an opposition with the declination. So by the 4th, we're having some Mars action, Mars Pluto action. It's time to take life by the balls. Get her done. All right, I'm going to stop it here. That's going to end my first segment. And I'm going to talk about some asteroids in the next portion. So that was the week. Stay tuned for more.